Hey everybody, I'm John and this is Blind Whiskey Reviews. Hey everybody, and thank you so much for joining me today here on Blind Whiskey Reviews, the most honest reviews on YouTube. As always, if you like these videos, don't forget to hit that subscribe button down below and click the bell notification. That way you know every time I'm uploading a new video and every time I'm starting a new live stream. Today we're doing another one of these for you, and I don't really know what to call this segment. I was calling these No Time Like the Present. I'm still going to do the No Time Like the Present segment when we're cracking open new bottles. But when distilleries send me samples to review of a whiskey that's pretty recently released, like what we're doing today, I really want to bring that to you. Normally I'd throw them in the speedy sample review pile and do them there, but when they're new releases, I definitely want to get them to you as soon as possible so that way you guys have this info to decide whether you want to pick up these whiskeys when you see them on the shelf. So we're going to call this something else. I don't know what we're going to call it. We'll figure that out. But essentially, this is just a brand new whiskey review that I want to bring to you. So today we're going to be doing the Woodford Reserve Kentucky Straight Wheat Whiskey. So I'm excited to try this one. This is Woodford's first delving into a wheated whiskey. And I actually have a little info here I can give you on the whiskey that they sent me. So yeah, they're introducing a brand new wheat whiskey. The mash bill is 52% wheat, 20% malt, 20% corn, and 8% rye. So a little bit different than the traditional wheated whiskey where they substitute the rye for the wheat typically. In this recipe, they're leaving some of the rye in. So I'm really curious to see how it's going to taste. It's actually a 4-grain whiskey. So a lot of other stuff on here, but the gist of it is this is 90.4 proof with a suggested retail price of $34.99. So relatively reasonable price. Let's crack this thing open and see how it is. Like I said, I'm really excited to get into it. I do enjoy the profile on Woodford. I think they've got some good flavors. I think if you've ever watched my review of the standard Woodford Reserve, is that, well, that's a hefty pour. I shouldn't even pour the whole thing, maybe. I think it's good. I think it's a little on the weak side. I wish they'd bump the proof up a few points, and it would just help it come across with a little bit more depth and complexity. I think it's a good whiskey. I wish there was a little bit more there. So hopefully that's not the case here. Hopefully the 4-grain recipes really brought some complexity to this, and we'll be able to really enjoy it, even though it's still right around 90 proof. So very light, big light fruit nose, apple, pear, very sweet, very light, little light vanilla. Not too much in the way of those caramel and brown sugar characters on the nose here. We got a nice, pretty deep color though. Kind of on the darker end of amber, medium amber, slightly orange hue. A little bit of citrus on the nose too. Smells good. Let's get into the taste. Cheers. Interesting. Yeah, there's definitely a bit going on here. Definitely gonna need another taste before I can really give you a lot of tasting notes. But up front, definitely those light fruits that you're getting on the nose. I mean, right in the front of the palate, you get this big pop of like a juicy apple, pear. Quickly kind of switches in the mid palate. It's not as sweet as it smells, so that's good. If it was that sweet, it'd be a little bit cloying. But let's get one more taste here and we'll give you a few more notes. Mid palate kind of stays like the front. Stays fruity, stays sweet. Towards the back of the palate, you start getting a little bit of bitterness there. A touch of spice. I think that little 8% rye in this mash bill definitely kind of comes through a little bit. It brings in a little bit of like an herbal character. Definitely getting some like tobacco-y notes kind of back there too. I mean, you definitely taste Woodford in this, but it's definitely different. This is not the standard Woodford bourbon. I mean, it's definitely a different profile. Lots of different flavors here. Not quite as sweet in terms of those deeper, rich sweetnesses like the brown sugar, the caramel. Definitely stays a little bit more on the lighter side. Finish is a little bit bitter, which is nice. Mouthfeel is pretty thin, and which I think Woodford is kind of too. So the Woodford standard bourbon, a little thin on the mouthfeel. Finish is medium. It's just light on the palate. I mean, this is a 90 proof whiskey that drinks maybe a little bit lighter than that in terms of doesn't necessarily even feel the 90 proof. I would probably have guessed this was maybe like mid 80s. And it drinks flavor-wise. It comes through like maybe higher end of middling 80s, 85, 86, 87. It's kind of what it feels like. So that is a negative for it. I wish they would bump it up to 95 or 100 proof. I think this stuff would be so fantastic in their regular bourbon as well at that proof point. I really think that those few proof points that really would just help bring some more depth and complexity to the whiskey. And for guys like me, I mean, that's just what I'm looking for. I don't drink a ton of 90 proof whiskey. So, because I just like the more flavor that the higher proof brings. So, anyways, we'll do what we normally do in the No Time Like the Present review segments. We'll give this thing a chance to open up. Don't know how it was put into these sample bottles. I would imagine they cracked open a fresh bottle and poured it into these bottles. So, give it a little time to open up, and we'll see how it's doing after 20-30 minutes airtime. So, we'll be back with that in a second. All right, we are back with the Woodford Reserve Wheated Whiskey, and it's been sitting in the glass for right around 20 minutes. So let's dive back in and see if we can get any more flavors out of this thing. That smells pretty similar. It almost smells more Woodfordy, if that makes any sense. It smells like more of that Woodford profile that I know. Yeah, it's almost kind of backed off some of the characters that were making it a little bit more unique, and it smells a lot more like the Woodford standard bourbon release. I would say the flavor profile has kind of done the same, just a little bit. I mean, we're not talking big leaps and bounds different here, but I would definitely say it comes off more as a Woodford whiskey than it did originally when we poured it in the glass. So as it's opening up, it's really taking on some of that distillery profile. That's not a bad thing. I really do kind of like this whiskey. I wish, as I said before, that there was more here in terms of complexity and flavor. Like, I wish that was just like 100 proof, but since it isn't, the complexity, don't get me wrong, it's not bad. There is a decent amount of flavors here. Better than some of the other. I'm going to be reviewing the Woodford Reserve Malt Whiskey as well, and that one, as I recall having drank it before, just wasn't as complex. This one definitely has some more complexity. And it probably has a little bit to do with the 4-grain mash bill. So I like that about it. Like I said, it comes off a little thin. I wish the finish was a little longer, a little bit better mouthfeel, just a little bit more to it. I wish it had a little more meat to it. But other than that, I like the flavors that are here. I like the profile. If they'd ramp it up a touch, I think it'd be a great whiskey. And even still, it's still a good whiskey. So for the price of 35 bucks, I don't think it's a bad deal. I do think there are other whiskeys out there. Like if you're looking at a wheated mash bill, there's other products out there at a bit cheaper than this, at a higher proof than this, that probably are a little bit better in my opinion. But I like this whiskey. I think it's good. I definitely think it's worth trying. If you like Woodford, you like that profile, you definitely can taste the Woodford in this whiskey, but it is a little bit different. It is a bit of a twist on their normal profile, and I do enjoy what they've done here. I think it is really good, and it's well made, well put together. So for me, this whiskey is going to get an 82. Not that there's any point in me scoring it. I don't know that I'll be reviewing this again in the future. However, I think it's a good whiskey, and I definitely would say that it's worth trying if you guys like Woodford. So definitely go check it out if you haven't already. Like I said, I don't know, it should be popping up on shelves soon if it hasn't already. So if you've had the opportunity to try the Woodford Wheated Whiskey, let me know what you think of it in the comments down below. I'd love to hear what you guys think. And as always, you guys can catch me on Instagram and Twitter at blind_reviews. You can also catch me on Instagram at Mission Bottle Kill, where I'm posting all kinds of pictures of people emptying out amazing bottles of whiskey. And if you want me to post your picture, just tag at Mission Bottle Kill in the post. And as always, you can send me an email at blindwhiskeyreviews, that's whiskey with an E, @gmail.com. And until next time, cheers.